Hi, friends. It's Sir Aaron and Dr. J here with another awesome episode of Two Black Men Just Trying to Get Along. We are going to be talking a little bit about some of the current events that are happening across this great land of America and how we as black men are responding. Dr. J, why don't you get us started? It seems like you have some emotions built up in you that you just can't wait to get out.
Yeah, so I think the big thing for me is I found out on Saturday about this stuff in Charlotte, right? It's Charlottesville.
Charlottesville, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I really didn't know what was going on, dude. Honestly, because I tried to do we talked about how I know how bad you can become hypnotized by the media.
Mm-hmm.
So I cut back on my media intake.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it until I was in the car scrolling on Facebook, and I was like, "Oh crap, something else done happened."
Right. So I really didn't know, and then I started hearing all this stuff, and I was like, "What?" And then I got on Facebook, and people were talking about it, and then they were like, they weren't even basically what they were saying was the KKK was out there.
All right, so what happened? Let's for people who might not know let's just break it down. What happened, Dr. J?
So I'm gonna tell you what I was told because I don't fully know. What I was told was the KKK was out in Charlottesville, Virginia, protesting and marching and doing some sort of demonstration.
Doing that, right?
And then they were
white
supremacy stuff, right?
Yeah.
That was the other thing. Some people were like, well, it wasn't the KKK, it was just white supremacy groups, whatever.
Neo-Nazi groups.
Right. And then protesters came. The white supremacy groups didn't like that. The protesters were protesting their speech.
Their gathering.
Right.
Their White Lives Matter movement.
So then they drove cars into people and killed white people. Basically,
yeah. So killed their own, right? So I mean, that's insanity to me. So tell me.
Let me slow you down.
Okay.
Because the white girl who was killed for that, I don't think she would want to say that's her own. Like let's be respectful.
Well, from her vantage point, I understand that. However, we also see how blind hate could be, right? We also can see
right.
We can be so blindly outraged and hate that we don't even see who we are victimizing, right? So it's an interesting world we live in, my friend. So
yeah,
how is all this sitting with you?
So all that being said, I didn't really know what was that was Facebook, right? And hearsay. But then I was like, let me figure out what the president is saying about this. And I kid you not, I pulled it up. I'm sitting in the bed with my wife, watching this video, right, of the president of the U.S. Which for a second I got physically sick. I was like, "Oh my God, this is
hold
real."
On. What do you mean by physically sick? Let's talk about that. You were watching.
I'm sitting in the bed, and my stomach turns. My stomach turns.
So you had this
because we have a reality TV show host leading our country, like. We have Snooki or whoever, right?
So is that disgust in your stomach, or what is that feeling that you feel in your stomach when you're sitting there watching our president address this issue?
The thought that rang to my head was, I fundamentally don't feel safe right now. I don't trust this man to have my best interests at heart. And his speech, I think, bore that out. His speech was bland. He never called anybody by name. That's what you call verbal distancing. Right? When people don't want to be associated with something, they don't say what they're talking about. They just use like euphemisms and
I mean, it gives you an articles. It gives you an emotional attachment from the climate of what's really going on when you can talk
emotional detachment. Yeah. So and then he says there's a lot of hate on both sides. No, what? Like you can't say that the group that is protesting hate is a group that they're not the problem. Protesting hate is not the problem.
It's a cycle of contradictions. It's all these fail situations that people are put in, and we're like, damn, we don't know what to do.
So I thought it was weak. Especially I watched the video today that Vox put up. We should put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
And Vox was saying, like, every time Trump calls somebody out, he has no problem calling people out by name. Rosie O'Donnell, Meryl Streep, whoever, Obama.
Yeah.
But as soon as it's the alt-right, right? As soon as it's the white supremacists, as soon as it's whoever, he goes, well, this country has problems, and our groups need to work together, and ambiguous. And
So
it's like, what? No, dude, like just call it out.
So let me ask you this right now, Dr. J. If you were not coming from your limbic system right now, because I'm seeing triggers left and right inside you, and you pulled up that therapist in you, what is going on with Trump to make him present in such a way in this tremendous, horrible, traumatic time? What trauma? What is his problem? Tell me, please.
I have no idea what is going on with him.
If he was a client in your office,
it feels like he's hiding. He feels like he's hiding.
Hiding? What might he be hiding from? Educated guess, just hypothesizing.
If Trump came and sat down in my living room, right, and we were having a cup of coffee. Well, that's too personal. If we went out to Starbucks, right, we were drinking a cup of coffee, and he was saying what he was saying, my first thought would be, he does not want me to know what he really thinks about me. He's afraid that I'm not going to follow him. He's afraid I'm going to put up too much of a fight. He's afraid that I'm going to do things that are getting in the way of his agenda, his plan.
So let me ask you this question then. Is Trump fragileness in his presidency showing up with his desire of control? Because if he can control you by being ambiguous, that makes him feel more confident as a therapist. And the reality of it is, his shit is rocky.
Okay, what do you mean by his fragileness?
Right. For instance, right now there are, let's say, a movement of people, even people who looks like him, that wants him out of office. Right. And there's a select group of people that has his back and is fighting for him. Right. So if I'm supposed to be almighty powerful president and I see how fragile my presidency is, who am I going to align with? I'm going to try to appease the people I don't want to upset, but I'm going to make sure my brothers in arms, when shit hits the fan and got my back, they're going to be there. Right. So his insecurity as a president leave him so ambiguous, walking a line and not even choosing a side, only choosing a side when he feels like it is supporting the powers that support him, the white supremacists that support him. So I can talk about Muslims. I can talk about Rosie O'Donnell. I can talk about Obama, because the people who are going to hate and fight on my behalf are the white people who run over people at, a rally. Right.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is bigger than that. I think you have a problem because what we say is, like, Trump, we say that Trump does not have the support of the majority of America, which I believe. But that ignores the fact that he has the majority of support of people who vote, and he has the default of being in office. It's it's harder to change something that's already established.
Yeah.
And then the people who will go out and vote. I mean, that's part of why Hillary lost, right? Like,
her followers wasn't in the booths.
And because people who didn't like Trump but like Bernie Sanders didn't show up, right? The Obama coalition never showed up. So people who were supposed to be doing something, they didn't. So I really think that part of the problem is not that all these people are out to get him. I think he's got plenty of people who are already for him, but those are the ones who are putting in the actual work.
Yeah, so they're the one out there fighting with tiki torches and in golf shirts. So they're killing on his behalf.
Right. I mean, this goes back to my own stuff with, like, like I told you before, I studied a lot about, like, King and, like, how his movement was fundamentally different from, like, Mandela's movement. And part of what King did was he forced action. He forced action, right? The Black Lives Matter movement, I don't feel like has done an equivalent job of that. Because I think the equivalent job would have been, let's bus people to the freaking